Okay. Okay. This is your syllabus for computer networks. If you think the course type is core, so again I'm saying it's a core subject. Many concept that is used in it is also usable in other subject. I will tell you about those concepts that are interrelated with each other. Okay, so the format is
Repeat that audio.
LTP. Okay, so this is the 302 and the credits are 4. Okay, so there will be 3 lectures every week and I
Yes.
think one lab every week. Okay, so as there is no tutorial part here, so I urge you to not miss the laboratory part. Lab is where you will get the understanding basic idea how packets are going into on one another, how networks are formed and how other things comes into existence. So the first course learning objective is that you will understand the functionality of a different layers within a network architecture. Okay, so there are basically 2 or 3 different kind of architectures here. So I'll only keep focusing about this OSI. That is one of the most important architecture, and then another is TCP/IP. Okay, so I'll be focusing only on these 2 architecture. That is the main main part in your whole computer science computer network course. Another is to analyze requirement for organizational structure and select the most appropriate networking architecture and technologies, subnetting and routing mechanism. Don't worry about it. I know that you will not understand by only seeing the course learning objective here, but when I go in deep, I will again cover each and every course learning objective very thoroughly. Okay, so the third is this is one of the easiest course learning objective that says that illustrate the network layer protocols and data link transport. So it is just talking about the different layers that is present inside and any other architectures. Okay, so if you see the syllabus here, the module 1 covers only the basic concept like theory like concepts of it, that is introduction to your computer networks, goal and application of networks, some network structure and architecture, OSI reference model that I already talked about. This is also a very widely used OSI reference model. And then there is a TCPI. So these two are the one of the most important thing. Okay, so this whole if you see the whole syllabus that is defined here is an extension of this particular reference model. Okay, so this reference model contains 7 layers and every layer has a specific function, and that specific function is written in module 2, module 3 and module 4. So that is why I'm saying that this is your main part, the OSI reference model. I'll just cover a brief of it. After that I will discuss individually that in these 7 layers what exactly is going on. Then we again come back towards this with a very I prepared a very good example that you will understand each and every bit of it, that how exactly the networking inside your computers takes place. Okay. Another one is your network topology. So it's a very easy concept. All of these are very easy concept. Okay. So if you're seeing the first module is just mainly related to your physical layer part. Okay. So physical layer means that uh, where there will be physical devices. Okay, so physical devices mean like you heard about this like router. Okay, so router is also a physical device, and other things, another this multiplexing modulation, all of these things that you have already seen in digital electronics. So I'll just discuss the application of it. Okay, so computer networks is again divided into 2 parts. Okay, so first part is your hardware related part and the second part is your software related part. Okay, so this subject is very common. The electronics people also studied this subject, but they study very deeply the hardware part, but we computer science people, we study very deeply the software part. Okay, the software part I'll tell you about it, that which is the software part. Okay, so there are if you see in the syllabus, you are seeing physical layer transmission. So it is a hardware part. Line length, line coding scheme. It is also hardware part. Basic idea of modulation and multiplexing. It's also a hardware part, and switching methods. Okay, so there are 3 types of switching method: packet, message, and other things. So this is also a part of a hardware. Okay, so again, if you again go in the second module, you will find some software part here. Okay, so this is bus topology, ring topology. So topologies are a arrangement of different kind of computer systems. Okay, so you can, there are different kind of topologies. In the same way, token passing rings, FDDIC, they are a different type of software methods to communicate. Okay, so Ethernet is also a software method. I'll tell you why it is a software method, what is exactly that. And there is another IEEE standard. So these standards, these are just a packet that contains a particular kind of rules, you can say, your protocols on which the communication is based on. Okay, so for reference, you can you can go towards any IEEE standard, you can search it. There is something called RFCs. Okay, so for subnetting, there is any RFC that is particularly defined on Cisco's website. Okay, so if you face any kind of a problem in any topic, you just write RFC and write the name of the topic. You will directly go towards the standard here. So this is a very good thing, that if you have any kind of a doubt in anything, you can go to the official what can you say, official documents that is related to a particular concept. Okay, so these standards are set in stones, so that is why it is 802.3. It will be a particular standard. Okay, in the same way, there are other standards also, like wireless LAN is another standard that is also defined on 802.11. Okay, so we will discuss each and every standard, don't worry about that part. So module 3 now, it is going towards again in on particular layers like network layer and transport layer. Okay, so these are all the parts of a network and a transport layer. In the similar way, the end part is your the last layers of your OSI reference model, that is your application layer. Okay, so whatever you are seeing is just a part of this OSI reference model. Okay, so I will tell you about what exactly is this OSI reference model and each every layer. Okay, so the networking is particularly divided into 7 parts. Okay, so we will study each part differently, and that each part is written in every module of your syllabus. Okay, so understand this particular thing. Okay, another thing is that if you face any kind of a doubt, don't worry about it. You can ask me during the lecture in the chat box. And if you are afraid that you can ask, you are afraid, you can just write me a mail, as well as you can drop me a message on Microsoft Teams. Okay, so in your lab part also, so I again want to stress this part, that do not miss your labs. Okay, so I'll try to record as many sessions as possible, because I know there are some network problems in many people homes, so that they can again access the particular lecture at a particular time. Okay, I'll also try to create a YouTube playlist, so that the access to that lecture will be easy for you. Okay, again. Okay, so the another thing is your evaluation component. Okay, so it will be again shared in your handout, but still I just want to give you a little bit of glimpse of it, that what exactly will be the evaluation structure. So first of all, there is no I'll try that there will be no, what do you say, if you have Viva part, I do not want to include it, so it is not in your evaluation component. Okay, so the evaluation component will contain continuous lab evaluation. Okay, again it will be given to you in handout, just I'm giving a glimpse of it. So continuous lab evaluation, you know about this is 10 marks, and it is already uploaded. If those who have attended the lab, they will find the lab assignment, first lab assignment, as well as the particular rules that are given there. Okay, second thing is your assignment. Okay, so assignment part, I will decide what will be the assignment, so it is also of 10 marks. So these two 10 marks are very easy, you can easily score in that. Then there is a midterm, and then midterm will be of around 20 marks, and then there will be an end term. So end term will be around of 35 marks. Okay, so and again there is a quiz, so you know about the quiz. There will be 2 or 3 quizzes in which best of two will be considered, something like that. It will be of 15 marks, and I think only, okay, so another lab evaluation part is remaining. Okay, so this will be a particular kind of a test that will be given to you, and that will be decided by the lab faculty. Okay, so I think it is 100 marks. Okay, so this is your evaluation component. Most probably it will be there, but you will find the handout. Every evaluation component will be given in your handout with more formal notation. Okay, so we will again I will definitely focus on the course learning objective here. The course learning objectives say will I know that you will not understand right now that what exactly is this subnetting, what exactly is this routing, what exactly is this mechanism. Don't worry about it. Okay, so I will teach it my teaching style is a bit different. I will try to solve as much questions as possible so that you can understand the concept very easily. Okay, so in most of my lectures, I'll try to solve the questions so that you can have a better understanding that what will you get. Okay, another part is that I will not ask anything outside that is taught in the class. Okay, so everything that is taught in the class will be asking you quizzes, will be asking you midterm, and will be asking you head down. Okay, so be sure that you do not miss the class. If you have missed it, don't worry about it, you can again watch it. I will try to maintain a YouTube playlist so that you can easily access those playlist also, so if you have missed any lecture. Okay, so so I'll start this is your first lecture, so I'll just start with the very basics of computer networks and what exactly is a computer network. Okay, so this particular part is will also be if the lab is taken by me, will also be discussed in the lab, as well as I also want to discuss it here, so that if I'm not taking the lab, it will be easy for you when you're starting in other lab classes. Okay, so first, uh, you understand that what exactly is a computer network and what exactly the communication between devices takes place. What exactly is the IP address? What exactly is a host ID? What exactly is a server? Okay? These are few things that will be reoccurring throughout the computer networks. Throughout the computer network, you will see these terms again and again and again. Okay, so the first term that you will see very frequently, that is your protocol. Okay, so protocol, I just want to tell you something about it, that what exactly is a protocol. So it is nothing, it is just a set of rules that is governing the communication. Okay, so that is governing a communication between two devices. So just I write it like this. It is just an informal definition, don't worry about it. I'll also give you formal, everything will be uploaded on LMS, don't worry about it. I will provide you PPTs, I will provide you notes, don't worry about that part. Okay, so first of all, this particular word you will find in computer networks many times. Okay, so there is another concept that I also want to tell you, that when you study about subnetting, okay, so that is in your third module. Okay, so I again want to tell you something interconnected to other subjects also. Okay, so when you study about subnetting, it is directly connected to your OS topic, that is your paging. Okay, so if you understand this, your OS concept paging will be easily understandable to you. That is why I'm saying that some concepts that are given in computer networks are can be transferred to another subject. Okay, so here it is paging, here it is subnetting. If you understand subnetting, it is very easy to understand paging. If you understand paging, it is very easy to understand subnetting. Okay, so this is one of the fewest topic that overlap in other subject. Okay, so that is why I'm stressing this point here again. Now there are some other things like a host ID. You will find this particular kind of a thing very high number of times. There is another something called a network ID, and there is something called a port number. Okay, so these particular terms will be reoccurred throughout your CN. If you want to take a book, for OS, you know about there are two Bibles that exist in computer science. So the Bible of computer networks is Frozen. Okay, so I don't know the spelling. I just Frozen, something like this. This is not Frozen, Frouzden, something like this. It's the Bible of computer networks. Everything is given. This is one of the fewest book that is always covered, always mentioned whenever there is a mention of computer networks. For OS it's Galvin, but for computer networks it is Frozen. And if you refer to any other book, that there is another good book, that is your Tenenbaum. Okay, so I don't know the spelling, so pardon me if I'm writing the wrong thing. Okay, so Tenenbaum is also a very good book for computer networks, but I refer to only Frozen. Tenenbaum is also a very good book. Okay, so there are many concepts that is very elegantly given in this book, but Frozen is a very good book. Okay, so again, if you have any kind of a doubt, I will take a 5-minute pause and to check the chat box. Again, don't worry about it. Uh, I'll try to cover the doubt as much as possible. So I think just let me see if you have any doubt in the chat box. Okay. Yeah, I think Deep has shared the link of Beroze Frozen. Okay, so that is the correct spelling, Frouzan. Okay, there is another book, Tenenbaum. You can refer both of these books, but I certainly refer Frozen for any other thing. Okay, so another is your RFCs. Okay, so this is just these are just related to a standard. Okay, so if you write RFC and if you write any other topic, you will find a particular official documentation related to that particular thing. So RFC, there will be a totally a number attached to it. Don't worry about it. If you just write it, you will find a particular concept and the official documentation that is related to a particular concept. So I also refer to this. If you have any doubt that is not covered in book or in any book, you can refer to RFCs. Okay, so they are also very good. So that is the advantage in networking, that if there is some, if you study about subnetting, I'll tell you that there are many confusing things in subnettings. Okay, there are many confusing things that is written in different books. Okay, so I'll refer to only the RFCs. So RFCs are the official documentation, or I will refer to Cisco standard. Okay, so I'll try to do one or the two things that is currently covered. I'll try to refer to Cisco standard or the RFC that is already defined there. Okay, so now before starting now, I'll tell you about the host ID, network ID, and a port ID, and what exactly is a network, and how the simple network communication takes place. Okay, so if you have attended the lab, it is the same thing that I told you in the lab. So again, I'll try to repeat this because it gives you the understanding of a basic network, that how a particular computer network actually works. Okay, so so suppose this is a particular network. Okay, so I'm calling this particular network as ISP, that is, I think, my BSNL. Okay, it can be BSNL, it can be Geo, it can be Airtel, it can be anything. Okay, so this is a particular network that is provided to your internet service provider. So these are called ISPs. Okay, internet service providers. Okay, so if you want to get connected to the internet, you will always call BSNL, Geo, or Airtel. Okay, so the government of a particular nation will provide a particular spectrum to these companies for operation of internet. Okay, so I'll tell you about this. This is not part of the syllabus, that how the spectrum is allocated. This is more that this part is more detailed covered in electronics part. Okay, so I'll try to give you a little bit of a glimpse of it, that how the exact spectrum is allocated to different companies, that what exactly are the precautions that are keep in mind. Okay, so we are here. Okay, so suppose there is a BSNL network, and this BSNL network, there are many devices connected. Okay, so there are many devices connected. I'm denoting this as a device. It can be a laptop, it can be a computer, it can be a simple mobile. Okay, so suppose This is you are sitting here. Your particular system is connected to your BSNL network, and at that particular computer you opened something called a process. Okay, so this particular process can be anything. It is most now it is a web browser. Now on a computer you opened a process. Okay, so process is your web browser. This process has something called a port number. Okay, so this process has something called a port number. Okay, so now when you opened a browser, suppose you opened a web browser, this is your web browser, and you write here www dot, you write anything like google.com. Okay, so when you write google.com, what happens here, you are here, suppose this is your computer network, you are standing here, there are another machines are also in the network. I'm only talking about this one. Okay, so when you write www.google.com, what happens is that now google.com is again situated, this is India. Suppose google.com is situated not in India but in other country, like suppose it is the server that is very nearest to you is situated in Japan. Okay, so it can happen. There are many servers, there are many public addresses, there are many servers that is also established in India, but I'm just talking about that when it is not in India, it is the nearest Google server that it found, it is in Japan. Okay, so what happens is that in this particular Japan here, there is again a network here. Okay, so this is your host machine. Okay, so this is your this particular thing, I'll tell you, just wait for a second. Okay, so in this Japan, there is again a network. Suppose in Japan another network like Docomo is working. In this particular network there is again a computer there, and this computer is again opened another process, and this process is called your server. Okay, the server is nothing, it's just again a computer that provides services to the user. So server is nothing, a simple computer can also act as a server, and this server is particularly providing services to the user. Okay, so again this particular server I am naming is at a process. Okay, so this is again a process. Here the process is web browser, here the process is your server. Okay, so now when I type www.google.com, what happens is there it goes towards the nearest location where the server of Google is present, and it will go towards this part, and then it will go towards the host where it is present, and then it will be go towards this particular process that is happening here. Okay, so now keep a look at it. So because this is a network, so it has to go towards the destination network. Then there are many hosts. So this is a host, host 1, host 2, host 3. So anything that is connected to internet is your host. Okay, so this is host 4. So going to the destination network, it also has to go a destination host. So the first part is your destination network, second part is your destination host, and the third part is your process. The process is your server. Okay, so that is why I'm writing it as a port number. Okay, so now understand it. What happens is that for destination network you have to have a network ID. I'll see network ID for a particular host where the server is located. You have to have a host ID, and for a particular process that is running inside the computer you have to have a port number. Okay, so this is a three-step process. Now when you reach at the port number, it knows that you have requested the web page of a Google, and it will get back towards it. Okay, so it will again reply on the same path, getting the destination network from this side, getting the destination network, getting the host ID from this side, and getting the port number from this side. Okay, so the process that is going forward will also come back because you have requested a web page of a google.com. So when you requested it, your packet will travel towards hundreds of thousands of miles towards Japan to access a particular server, and then this server will again travel hundreds and thousands of miles towards you to give you the service you have requested from a particular server. Okay, so this particular the process that I'm talking about, this particular process only takes uh, like 19 to 20 milliseconds. It does not take more than that. Okay, so see that how advanced our networks nowadays are, that this I'm talking about the millisecond speed of nowadays we only try, like require only 19 to 20 milliseconds to access any web browser and any web server that is located at the other end of the earth. We only require 90 to 20 milliseconds. It does not take more than that. Okay, so that is how advanced our computer networks nowadays are. Now how these networks are at so advanced that they are taking very less amount of time. So this is depending upon the physical network of connection. Okay, so if the connection that is based that connection the packets that are sent uh, from your computer to other computer, if it is very efficient, the efficient this is, the efficient your speed will be. Okay, so the efficient, if I say that this particular thing consists of a fiber optic cable. Fiber optic cable is one of the most efficient cable in computer network. So if it is used, so your millisecond time will also be very less. Okay, so most of the time it will be fiber optic cable, but I'm talking about it. Okay, so now understand that what I said, that to access a particular server, you first need a network ID, then you need a host ID, and then you need a particular port number of a particular process. Okay, so most probably if you heard about this, that because it is internet, so it is the, for HTTP the port number is 80. So you most probably have seen it. So this is a well-defined port. Don't worry about it, what is well-defined port, what exactly is it, I will discuss about each in detail. Okay, so this is again a part of a layer that is called your transport layer. Okay, so don't worry about that part now. Okay, so I'm only talking about these two things now. Okay, so port number can be easily accessible. There are well-defined ports for a simple mail transfer protocol. The port is very well defined, that is your 25 port. Okay, so there are many well-defined ports for communication that are already defined. You do not have to do anything, because it is internet, I am accessing HTTP, so that is why I know that it will always be 80. The port number will always be 80. Okay, so if you are simple accessing file transfer protocol, the port number is also well defined here. It will, I think it is something like 21 or 25. I don't remember it, but I think it is 21. So most of the time you will see this port number. Okay, so exactly you have seen this many number of times, that you have downloaded or uploaded a particular Android app, and you want to access your Android using this Android app, you want to access the contents of your mobile on a web browser. Okay, so you most probably have seen it, and there is something called FTP. If you want to establish a FTP connection with your particular computer, so what this app does is that it generates a particular kind of a IP address with a port number attached to it. Okay, so that particular port number allows you to transfer your copy and paste between your mobile and your computer. You most probably have seen this particular type of thing. Okay, so now the combination of a network and host ID is called your internet protocol address. This is your IP address. Now, if you have seen this, there are many, the IP address is the main core where all the communication takes place. Okay, so if you look about the computer, your computer or your mobile or your smartphone will have two IP addresses. First is your internal IP address, and second is your external IP. Somewhat it's also called uh, uh, what's called public IP. Okay, so these are divided into parts. Internal IP address is just for using in your LAN. So LAN is your local area network. What is the meaning of this local area network? That you are not connected to the internet, but you are connected to devices that is placed in one location. Okay, so suppose there is a router, and that router is connected to internet. Okay, so that there is no problem about it, but to that router there are three devices connected. Okay, so these three devices are, they are, if you connect any device to a LAN, if you connect any device to a router, then these devices are interconnected with each other. Okay, so there is always a path that you can communicate with each other, and that connection, that path does not require a internet connection, that only required a local connection. So that is why this particular thing is your LAN. So for every device will have a internal IP for communication between each other, but for communicating with the internet, you will have a different IP address, that is your public IP address. Okay, so now the main thing to understand from this is that what exactly is a network. Now you understand what exactly is a network, and what exactly is host, what exactly is a port number. Okay, so there are three things uh, that are present here to understand how a particular communication between uh, two random devices takes place. Okay, so the first is your network ID, second is your host ID. Combining these two will result in something called IP address. Okay, so most probably you have seen something like this: 198.168.0, point 2, point 3, point 4, something like this. So this is an example of a IP address. Okay, so this is a particular example of a IP address. Now this IP address contain two things: first is your network ID, and second is your host ID. Okay, so don't worry about it, that what is network ID, what is host ID, what is the meaning of this. Don't worry about it, we will cover this part very extensively in subnetting. Okay, so that is in your module 3. Don't worry about it, just hold that for till module 3. I will tell you each and everything about it. Okay, so again, if somebody is remaining from this group, because I tried my best to share the invitation to all of you. If still someone which is in the group, that is which has not received an invitation, just share that link with your friends. Okay, so because the list is updated, I am not able to there are some people that are left there. Okay, okay, again the recording of this will again be available to you, so don't worry about it. But i'll I'll keep a lookout. If anybody hasn't received any link, just let me know via email. Okay, so now there is another thing that now you probably have seen that what exactly is an IP address, and you have seen an example of a IP address. Okay, so now you are seeing the example of IP address, that this is somewhat looks like a IP address, but mostly you will see that when I fire up a browser, I do not write this particular IP address. I only written www.google.com. Okay, so what happens there is this, I also call this www.google.com is also a IP address. Okay, but it is not in numeric form. Okay, so what happens there, that we cannot remember large numbers for a particular domain. Okay, so if I say that I build the website, and the website, and to access the website, you have to remember 224, 123, 141.1. Okay, so if you I'll say that I have built a website, so just go to this IP address to access this. So if I tell like 100 people, only like one or two people will go towards this, because most of them will not remember that what exactly was the number to access these two websites. Okay, so that is why the humans are not good at remembering numbers, and that too, that numbers will again change indefinitely. So again, sometimes after that, I'll try to change the number. So that is why the IP address is written in alphabetically. Okay, so now what happens, there is something called DNS. Okay, so this is the full form of this is domain name system, or something it's called a domain name server. Okay, so what happens is that this domain name server contains all the IP addresses that is registered in any domain. Okay, suppose this www.google.com is actually The IP address of this is actually I'll say 192.168.1171.3. Okay, so the IP address of Google is this. This is also IP address, but this is in alphabetical form. Okay, so that the computer does not understand anything from this www.google.com. It does not understand anything, but we understand it. That is why there is something called a DNS server. So what happens is that this DNS converts this alphabetically into a numeric format. Okay, so that is why when you purchase a new computer and when you try to access internet on it, in the starting it will be a little bit of it will take a little bit of time to access certain websites. Why? Because every time it has to go towards the DNS to get the corresponding IP address, and then it goes towards a particular website. Okay, but what happens with time, this DNS, this particular frequent accessing addresses are stored inside your web browser. Inside web browser means inside your Chrome or Mozilla or Internet Explorer, whatever you're using. So these particular addresses are stored inside, so you do not have to again go again and again towards the DNS. So this DNS facility is provided by your internet service provider. Okay, so this is the task of internet service provider, to provide you this domain name server. Okay, so every internet service provider has it. Okay, so that is why when you take a new device, it is it takes a little bit of time to access various websites, but after 1 hour or 2 hour, you will find it is taking no amount of time in accessing different, because the various DNS list is again stored on your web browser. So that is why it does not take any amount of time. Okay, so this is a basic understanding that how what exactly is a basic network, what exactly is a host, and what exactly is a port number. So keep in mind that these particular things that I've already told you, that protocol, host ID, network ID, port number, internet protocol address, IP. Okay, so IP is also divided into two parts, that is your IPv4 and IPv6. Okay, so this is version 6 and this is version 4. Currently we are following this. We are migrating to IPv6 because uh, it contains 4 octets. It contains 6 octets. I will tell you about it. Don't worry about what is an octet. What is that? Because this contains 4 octets, the combination of all these 4 are coming to end, because all the IP addresses are usable. So that is why we are migrating to IPv6 with 2 additional octets. Okay, so that we can generate more addresses. So that is why we are migrating to it, and there are also additional functionality to IPv6, but our syllabus is mostly will be focused on IPv4 because IPv6 is very new. I'll cover some parts of it because it is given in the syllabus. Well, I'll try to cover as much as possible, but the functionality of both of these are similar. If you understand IPv4, you will understand IPv6 in no time. Okay, so there are many protocols that is related to each and every portion. Okay, so what exactly, now if you seeing this communication is taking place, there are so many things going on. First, it is going from one place to another. Okay, so if you're seeing how does it go from one place to another, it will require a physical connection, a wire or something, some kind of a thing. Second, there are many physical devices present inside the way, which path to follow. That is also another problem, that which path to follow. Another thing is that if some wire is disconnected here, then what happens. Another thing is that when the response got back, the response is correct or not, or it just on the way the response got lost, so that the device keep waiting on the response, or it again sends the response. There are many problems. Okay, so this is that what I'm showing you, it is just the ideal thing. Okay, so it is just a very ideal phase. Okay, so if you're seeing here, there are many things. Okay, so the communication is divided into basically 7 parts. Okay, so that is your OSI reference model. Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about it. Don't know, I will not discuss it very deeply, don't worry about it. So the first thing that you will, I'll just write the names of it so it is self-understandable. So the first layer is your physical layer. Second layer is your data link layer. Third layer is your network layer. Transport layer. Session layer. Presentation layer. And the end is application layer. Okay, so this is your OSI reference model. Basically the communication is divided into these 7 parts. Okay, so again this is a very ideal situation. Ideal, I will again call it, it should be divided into 7 parts, but most probably it will not be. Okay, so I'll tell you that actually what happens there. But if you're seeing, the physical layer will take care of the physical devices like the routers, the gateways, uh, the switches, the hubs, the physical wires, everything will come into this physical layer. Okay, so the data link layer will take care that which path to follow, what to do. There are many devices. This network layer will also follow that how to route from one path to another. There are many paths from this one. Okay, so there are 2 paths, there are 3 paths. Your packet is here and there are 3 paths, which path to follow, which takes the least amount of time. So here again your algorithms that you are already studied, your algorithm part is also comes into play here, that which shortest path first. If you have studied about algorithms, you will find there are many algorithms used in this, that to find the shortest path between the paths. So again the implementation of various object will also, you will find it here in network layer. Another, this is your transport layer. It also deals with error connection or error detection or error removal, somewhat like it. Okay, so when you go, this 3 layers are just these 3 layers are has a very less use. Okay, session layer is just ensure that your connection stays there. Okay, so session means that if you are logged into a particular thing, it's just stays there, that you just log into that and your connection will not be lost. And presentation layer is again deal with the encryption and decryption. Application layer is what different kind of protocols are presented. Okay, so I will discuss each and every layer within deep detail. Okay, so if you see the modules, the functions of these layers are given in every module. Okay, so error detection and error correction, routing. If you see in the module, I think routing is also given there. Okay, so end-to-end delivery, routing and forwarding. This end-to-end delivery is a part of a transport layer, routing is a part of a network layer, routing versus forwarding is a part, static dynamic routing. If you're seeing, it's also it's all a part of a network as well as a transport layer. Okay, so this whole syllabus is based on these seven parts. Okay, so every communication will follow these 7 parts. Okay, so if you seen the lab here, if you have attended the lab practical, you have seen that I've told you that there are 7 layers that are given in the simulation part. And what exactly is the 7 layers? Don't worry about it, we have to study this 7 layers one by one. Okay, so this is just a basic introduction of CN. Again, tell you this is one of the most interesting subject you will find around. Okay, this is completely different from another subject. You will it's completely different path. Okay, so it is not based on algorithms. It is not based on operating system. However, there are some parts of it, but it is completely different. So that is why if you want to go in this, there is no prerequisite to it that you should know about data structure, you should know about other subjects. Okay, that is a completely different subject from all of it. So that is why if you find it interesting, you can easily go towards network companies like Cisco and other. There are there are very high opportunities there. Okay, so in this lecture I have already discussed the what exactly is a network and how exactly the communication between devices takes place. I have only discussed about that. And third one, I have just told you about that what exactly are the most common terms. If you are following a book, you will find the most common terms there. Okay, so if you have any kind of a doubt, you can refer to a book or you can refer to a RFC. Okay, so if your doubt is not clear to you, you can refer to a RFC or a Cisco standard. These are very reliable sources. I must say these are very reliable sources. Okay, so if you uh, uh, you should know, if you are preparing for Cisco network exam, you have to follow this RFCs. Okay, so Cisco's network exams, and also if you have seen, if in your lab you have seen that you have to download a packet tracer. For that, there are many free courses that are already available to you for student for free. Okay, so you can, if you want more knowledge, you can also uh, dive deep into that. Okay, so only I've discussed the introduction of a networks, and I just told you about the protocols and the basic terms of it. Okay, so in the next lecture, we will come to the syllabus part and we will discuss about OSI and the applications of networks. Okay, so if you have any doubt, just let me know. I also I just see is there any doubt on in the chat box. Okay, so just wait a second. Okay, so I think there is no chat. There is no doubt in the chat box, and Deep has shared the whole book in the PDF form. So this is okay. So this is not ethically right. So, but if you want to access it, you can use it. Okay. So if you have any doubt, you know what to do. You can mail me, message me on Microsoft Team, and I will also host a doubt session. Don't worry about it, on LMS of doubt forum. So if you have if you have this week's doubt, you can post your questions here, so that I will also look at this question and try to answer those questions on that particular thing. Okay, I will host a LMS doubt session. Don't worry about it. Okay, so thank you for
Excuse me,
listening,
sir.
and you can move on to the next lecture. Yeah, yeah, yes.
Sir,
Sir,
on what
on
platform
what platform
will the
will
quiz
the
be
quiz be
conducted?
conducted? Uh, I'll try to conduct it on LMS, but if there is not enough slot, I have to do it on Google Forms.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so if you have any doubt, just let